It's Sunday night, September 15th, 2019, and I am in St. Barb, Newfoundland. It's not where I planned to be tonight. I had expected to be in Labrador, but here's what happened. Yesterday I had my ferry reservation at 1 p.m., but I got here, and although it was a beautiful day, it was very windy, and the sea was churning and violent. So they canceled the ferry, said there were strong gale force winds, and that I should come back Sunday morning, which was this morning. Well, I get up today, and the weather was even worse. It was cloudy, rainy, and still very windy. So all throughout the day, they delayed the ferry some more, until tonight when they canceled it again. So I'm going to try again tomorrow morning, but now there's a considerable backlog of travelers who are waiting to get across to Labrador, so absolutely anything can happen. There's nothing we can do about the weather. This is just an exercise of patience, if anything. I'll get there. Labrador isn't going anywhere. Let's see what we can see here. That is my ride. Alright, I'm all settled in and calling it a night. I have to get up at 3:30 a.m. tomorrow morning to be at the terminal by 4, so keep your fingers crossed for sunny skies and calm seas. It's 5 a.m. on Monday morning, and I'm in line for the Labrador ferry. Although there's a lot of cars before me, so I'm not sure that I'm going to fit on this boat. But if I don't get on this one, it'll be the next one. So it's looking good that I'm going to cross today.
Du gouvernement interdit toute fumée sur ce navire, incluant les ascenseurs et les ponts extérieurs.
Well, I made it aboard, and honestly I'm impressed. They jam-packed a lot of cars and trucks on here. It's still early in the morning, so I am Labrador bound. Labrador, or more specifically Quebec, but just right on the border between the two. Now I have no idea where I'm going. But I need gas, and let's get exploring. I think I'll go left. Still way too early for camp, but it's nice to know where these spots are, so I'm going to mark this on my GPS. At waypoint, I usually call these potential site. I'm at Labrador Falls, a roadside feature near Blanc-Sablon, Quebec. When you arrive back at the mainland from the St. Barbe ferry in Newfoundland, it takes you to Blanc-Sablon, which is Quebec City, and it's right on the border between Labrador and Quebec. So when you get off the ferry, you can go left and explore westward into Quebec a short distance, and it's very mountainous and beautiful. Or you can travel right and go up into Labrador. When I first arrived, I turned left and traveled west into Quebec, which is where I did most of my exploring this morning. And I came to the end of that road, and now I'm returning east toward Labrador. Labrador! After months of planning, I finally made it. Really beautiful section of coast along this rocky slab that's on the side of a cliff. I would love more than anything to pop the camper here tonight from a coolness standpoint, but I woke up at 3:30 a.m. this morning to catch the ferry, and I'd like to find a nice quiet spot that's sheltered from the wind. It's Monday night, and tonight's campsite isn't quite as interesting as some of the others that I found today, but it's a nice grassy flat spot surrounded by small trees near Lansome Moor in Labrador. I think I'm going to sleep well tonight. It's supposed to get a lot windier, but I'm going to call it an early one. Try to catch up on some of that rest that I lost while waiting for the ferry this weekend. It's Tuesday morning. I'm making scrambled eggs for breakfast. It's entirely too windy outside, so I'm going to do it inside the Jeep. My scrambled eggs were good. Now it's time for coffee. It's always time for coffee. This wind makes everything immensely challenging. Everything from sleeping to making breakfast to traveling in a ferry to taking pictures. I'm hoping that I find some relief for it as I travel north, but I think it's supposed to be pretty breezy throughout the week. We'll see. Keeping my fingers crossed. My camera, in case you're wondering, which is not broken, is a Panasonic Lumix GH5. And it's a wonder that it still works after the abuse that I put it through. The road just did something interesting. It's showing this stretch that I'm on now as the official highway, but on my map I saw it deviated away from that, so I backtracked, came back to here, and this is obviously an old abandoned highway that was marked road not maintained, travel at your own risk. the abandoned road reconnected with the old road without much ado, so you could pretty much have driven that in a car. It was still a lot of fun. What's this road doing? I'm about 2.5 kilometers in and it's beautiful. Some of the leaves are turning yellow, it's forested, coniferous. I'm trying to find a place to camp, and I found a couple candidates back a little bit, but I want something in the trees ideally, just for some relief from the wind. This is the type of spot that I set out to find. The wind is down, I'm blocked by trees, I'm in a valley, so this is good. This is really good. The weather is otherwise rubbish though. It's a good thing when you see this, just a tidy campsite that's well kept, a sure sign that it's a good place to spend the night. A little bit of soup for dinner. I don't mind the rain so much, it's peaceful on the roof of the camper. But the good news is, I think tomorrow and for the rest of the week we're supposed to see some sunlight. It's Wednesday morning and I'm enjoying a breakfast sandwich. This place is beautiful. It's very wild and intense. And this campsite is very remote. It was very peaceful last night, the rain subsided, and I'm expecting throughout the day that the clouds will clear up and the sun will come out. I'm looking forward to that. But after this, I'm going to break camp and resume traveling north up the Trans-Labrador Highway. think today I'm going to head in the general direction of Cartwright, Labrador. And then I think I stand the best chance of getting this week's episode out on time if I try to wrap up the week in Goose Bay. I'm going to keep that fluid though, keep it open, because fixed itinerary stifles adventure and anything can happen between here and there. On the road to Cartwright, which is 85 kilometers of gravel heading north off of the Trans-Labrador Highway. I just breezed through Cartwright and I stopped for gas and I got some groceries. They don't have Cheez-Its in Canada, which explains why I haven't had Cheez-Its in quite some time. I got this bag of cheddar goldfish instead, but these bags are entirely too small. While I was in Cartwright, I decided to look underneath the Jeep because it's been just rattling and making a whole bunch of ridiculous noises lately. So I did find that one of my rear sway bar end links is shot. So when you hear the Jeep going over bumps and you hear clack, 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 that's exactly what that is. I haven't used the winch yet. And don't get me wrong, I'm very excited to, but I'm excited to need the winch. I figure I'll find a fallen tree, or in the past almost 3 years that I've been wandering, I've had 3 or 4 close calls, and it'll happen again. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I just hope that it's not a dire situation, and it's just adventure. In fact, I can say the very same thing about the Max Tracks. I know I'm not the only one who thinks vehicle recovery is fun. As long as nothing's broken and everyone's safe, it's a puzzle. It's a game to figure out how to get a vehicle unstuck or rolling again. It felt so good to spend some time outside tonight. It's the first time in a little bit that the weather's been good enough to do so. But tomorrow I am absolutely continuing on to Goose Bay. I'm near Cartwright now, and Goose Bay is the next logical step, so I'm going to try to wrap up the week there. The internet situation is still unknown, so I hope to get this video out on time, but we will see. Still have a long way to go. It's Thursday morning. I have 2 full tanks of gas, a full mug of coffee, and I am onward to Goose Bay and whatever adventures await. This is the road surface of the Trans-Labrador Highway at Cartwright Junction, looking east, and it's silky smooth all the way to Blanc-Sablon. This is a Trans-Labrador Highway heading west, beyond the Cartwright Junction, heading toward Goose Bay. Alright, so I was under the Jeep attaching the GoPro to the undercarriage because I thought it would be a really cool shot. And while I was under there, I heard hissing. So I have a screw in my passenger side rear tire. Also, I broke my GoPro. That was a stupid idea. I'm not worried about that tire. It seems to be a slow leak. In fact, right now it doesn't seem to be leaking at all. I'm sure there's a shop in Goose Bay that can fix it up. I'm not sure I would have been able to make it from Cartwright to Goose Bay without extra gas. If I didn't have the auxiliary tank, I'd be sweating bullets right now. It's close, I'm almost there, but not quite. I finally arrived in Goose Bay, a bustling city that has a little bit of everything in the heart of Labrador. The first thing I did when I got to town was I found a tire shop and I made an appointment for tomorrow, so I'm going to have that puncture taken care of in the morning. And then I figured out the internet situation and found that I'm going to have fast enough internet to publish this week's episode, which makes me happy because that was on my mind all week. Alright, this is the ground that I covered today. I started up here in Cartwright, and then this dark blue track is the dirt road down to the Trans-Labrador Highway, which runs east to west. The blue track is all gravel road. This is where I stopped for a sandwich. And then the green track is where it returned to pavement and ended up in Goose Bay. So all in all, that was 260 miles, and 190 of it was all gravel road. The GoPro will be fine. Fortunately, they make these things serviceable, so this protective glass piece is easily removed and replaced. Otherwise, it's still a perfectly good camera. I don't know what I was thinking. Yes, I do know what I was thinking. I wanted to get some groovy new camera angles, but I was over-caffeinated at the time, and I didn't think things through. So I'm going to call that a wrap for the week. I'm about 1/3 of the way across Labrador heading west, and I foresee myself being here for at least another 2 weeks. So I'm going to keep following the Trans-Labrador Highway and follow any offshoots that intrigue me and just see where they lead. But as usual, thanks for following along, and I'll catch up with you again next week.